Well, hello everyone, this is Callie. I am so happy you're here today, and I have a project on my YouTube channel that is just for my viewers. I created this card for a social media reel actually, and I had all of the video footage and just decided I would put it together and create a video so that I can share it on my personal YouTube channel, which I have not done in a long time, that isn't already shared on another YouTube channel. So I am creating this hummingbird wildflower card for you today, and it is primarily paper pieced, so I am just doing a lot of ink blending. When I have a bunch of little pieces like this, I like to just die cut it all in white so that I can ink blend and add my own personal colors and blend them together to create really colorful things like on this hummingbird. Now, if you don't already know, hummingbirds are my absolute favorite birds, and I've always been fascinated with them. So any chance I get, if there is a hummingbird die, I am going to use it. By the way, all the products that I'm using today are from the Simon Says Stamp Friend Like You release that just released here in June of 2025 for those who are watching later. And this die is called the Brilliant Hummingbird. So I have die cut it all in white, and I'm adding a variety of colors to make him or her super colorful. And I've also die cut these delicate wildflower pieces here in white, and I'll be ink blending those as well. I have two rows of petals here. The ones on the left will line up with the ones on the right to form one flower. So I decided to ink blend half of them a peach color and then the other half a pink color. That way when I layer them, get a little bit of interest in color variation and a pop of interest. Then I'll color the yellow over the flower centers and add green to the flower stems and leaves. The ink blending I'm doing is really quick and simple. I'm not focusing on any particular area. I mean, except maybe on the leaves at the bases, I am going a little bit darker, but I kind of want it to be organic blending. I'm not gonna make it nice and even because I feel like in nature, color kind of has a gradient to it based on light and the curvatures of the stems and leaves. So anyway, you get the idea. I am using a embossing folder, and this is called the Dainty Dotted Daisy embossing folder, and this is also from the Simon Says Stamp Friend Like You release. And to add a bit of color to all the raised areas, I am using a brayer to add color, and I've run my brayer over my ink pad to grab some ink, and I'm just going to run that brayer lightly over the top of those embossed areas. I don't really want it to get into the white parts of my cardstock. So this is a great way to apply an even amount of ink over those raised areas. Now I wanted to also add a focal point to my card where the flowers and hummingbird are going to be, since we have that busy background. So I'm using a scallop circle die as well as a basic circle die, and I'm going to create a little frame. I cut out the rose metallic paper in the center. That way I can save that cardstock instead of just wasting it. So I just saved that for another project in the future as a scrap piece. And I'll adhere that later on together, but right now I'm going to put together my little hummingbird. Super easy to piece together here as all of the edges and cut lines kind of align so you know where to stick the pieces. And I'll finish up here with the little wing, and there's a second part to the wing that I'll finish up with right here. For the hummingbird's eyes, they do pop out. I just left them in because I find it's easier to just use a Copic marker and dot the eye. If you're really careful, you won't get that black ink everywhere else because that paper is scored into the paper. So that helps me stay within the eyeball outline, if that makes sense. And that's just easier than having to pull out some black cardstock and die cutting a little black eye. And then I'll piece together these little wildflowers. I added the peach over the pink layers, and now I'm attaching the floral centers. And as mentioned, I'll attach the white circle to that metallic rose gold scalloped edge because it's going to be a little frame. So that's why I decided to use two different colors. For the sentiment, I am using the Easy Strips Everyday Stamp. Now this stamp is going to stamp all of the sentiments at the same time, and if you don't already know, these stamps are also created as easy strip sentiments that are pre-printed on white and black paper with toner. So if you like simple sentiment strips and like to foil, that's a great option. I'm going to stamp and emboss my sentiments today with gold embossing powder. So I've stamped it with clear embossing ink and I've sprinkled gold embossing powder over it and I'm heat setting it now. So it's super convenient to have some gold embossed sentiments that I can die cut all at once using this Easy Strip Rectangles die. So here I'm going to pop them all out and you can see that I have all of these sentiments ready to go for the next time I want to use an everyday sentiment. Now I'm going to piece together my entire card. I'm going to attach my background to a card base, then attach that scallop frame that I made using that rose gold metallic paper, and then I'll create a cluster of wildflowers first. And I'm using the biggest stem first just so I can eyeball where I want my cluster to start or be at its height, and continue to add those stems that I've die cut so that I can kind of visualize where things are going to go and save enough room for my hummingbird at the end. I'm using some 3D foam squares on the flower heads itself so that it can have some dimension, and I'll just tuck them behind some of the leaves to create an illusion of depth. And then I'll finish off with my hummingbird there on the left, and then I'll use one of my sentiments at the bottom and I've attached it with a 3D foam strip. Because there's some white space on the circle in the background, I decided to fill those in with some embellishments. So I'm using some Northern Lights embellishments. They're just flat-backed confetti that are iridescent, and I just think that they go on every card. So I've finished with that, and if you're still here, I am so grateful that you're watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. That'll really help out my channel, and I hope I'll be able to bring more new content to you in the future. Thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye everyone!